Is it 8 o'clock? Is it 8 o'clock yet?
It is, bang on.
It's now 8 o'clock.
Bang on. Officially. So this is the August planning meeting of the Town Council. Apologies for absence from
David Fuller and Val Chester.
Do we accept those apologies?
Yes.
There are no representations from interested parties, of which I am aware. I think lack of people out there. So, shall we move on to declarations of interest, starting with any disposable pecuniary interests? In terms of other interests,
18 slash.
those of us who have been paying attention to the agenda may have spotted the words Amber Rugby Club and Switch Golf.
And given that our clerk was the one who put the application in,
However, it is our application on land that we own for a building we want. As such, we should all declare an interest in it, and in due course, we will obviously make no comments in relation to the application, but it's there on the agenda. Apart from that, are there any other interests to declare? No. Minutes of the last meeting have been circulated. Those present were myself, Councillor Oakes, Councillor Fuller, Councillor Humphreys, Councillor Chesser and Councillor Robinson. So everybody who was present tonight was present then. Does somebody want
I
to
propose them.
them?
Yes, please.
Seconded by Councillor Robinson. All those in favour? Is everybody? With me. Which brings us on to the planning applications. And the first of those is our old friend at 15 Mill Road.
We've been there a few times.
We have.
Anyway, just for a bit of amusement.
This is for your friend. Oh, he's given it to you.
No, hang on a minute, how did you get that?
It's a saga, but at the annual town meeting, this was found on the floor and was considered appropriate to hand to me. I kept meaning to bring it along as a sort of
Well,
for the planning meeting, and I finally remembered tonight.
We went into the bookshop and he couldn't resist buying that. And that was only recently.
And although Dan has basically imaged it
Yeah.
and stuck it on, because I think it's quite amusing.
It is.
And we can do with a little bit of levity these days. Okay, off we go. Right. You've got that all down in your pack. Possibly the only thing that's really something not to comment on is a retrospective application. But I'm trying to keep this simple. As Councillor Chapel will well know, we've trodden down this path many times. So, I'm just going to put the Environment Agency's comments. I have edited them slightly because there were a few spelling mistakes, one or two other things, but and then you'll now know that AOD is above ordnance datum. Valuable piece of information. That to me is about the only thing that we need to look at, to be honest. And for those who've not seen this, well anyway, ENC will need to agree any variation anyway. Right. Right. This is the original application. And by the way, I'm not going into the detail because we've been through this. I'm sorry to say that the people may not have seen this before, but we've been through that. So you can see this is a substantial area of land. We had difficulties in understanding the parking side of things, but that looks like it's been sorted out. But fundamentally, you know, it's relatively dilapidated and it's been converted into a number of buildings, 8 buildings. We were a bit concerned about parking. There wasn't much else we were concerned about, to be honest. That's the area. You can see it's substantial. That's the property, the Anchor Brewery as was, and that's the cottage appended to it. That's the cottage, and that's it. I didn't want to go any further, to be perfectly honest, unless we were going to go and revisit the 3 planning applications that I mentioned.
Councillor Oakes is right. The last occasions, before it was parking that I think was the primary concern.
Yep.
As it was, I think, on an earlier occasion, as at one time, strangely enough, I think the overlooking issues that were raised as well, and
Yep.
various ingenious solutions were proposed in connection with that. It seems to me this is probably something which we might feel inclined almost to leave it to the district council rather than having any specific comment. Perhaps I'll leave it to council. If anybody's concerned, clearly we need to hear it, and if people think we should just no objection it, then
I think it's a no comment. Personally.
that was my inclination.
Your comment.
Yeah, the only concern I've had, and I've been here for a few months now, is this planning by stealth with this particular development. You know, I'm just frustrated that you can lose the plot sometimes. You know, with adding bits on and bits on and bits on. You know, so they've added more people.
Getting away with things.
Yeah, but anyway, just you can't do it. You can just move on.
I accept that entirely. I don't think that the developers of this site have done anything which I would find inappropriate. If you're going to deal with a disused brewery and outbuildings and convert them into properties, you clearly are going to have a lot of fiddling about.
Yeah, I can understand fiddling. It's when they start adding new habitable units on there, increasing the site density, you know, and then the car parking they went through. But look, I don't think there's any point in talking about it. You know, we're saying over to ANC.
I don't think I have anything to say about it, to be perfectly honest. I've not spoken to, I think it's Wayne. I've not spoken to them directly, but I don't think, the last time I spoke to him about this was way back. He didn't have any major concerns.
I'm getting the distinct impression that we just don't feel that it's necessary or appropriate for us to comment on this. We will simply let ENC deal with the technical aspects that it presents.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to the first of our 2 West Street properties. 96 West Street.
This is possibly one of the most interesting planning applications I've ever seen since doing this job for quite some time. Right. There is 96 West Street, as you can see, it's next to the Catholic Church, and just round the corner is our old premises, the courthouse, and you can see the cottages. Now the reason why this is interesting isn't largely to do with the history, but this is a planning application, but I think it'd be worthwhile just to, first of all, look at that. That's the front of it. And incidentally, I photographed that on a number of occasions. That's the rear of it. And originally, would you believe, it was 2 cottages. You wonder how people manage to live in them. Those are the gable ends. And the interesting thing about that is, if you look at those bricky things on the left-hand picture, they're actually used to let pigeons roost down. Right. Short history. I think this is worthwhile. This is a map that was published in 1886. And by the way, parts of this property go back well beyond that. Right. I'm just doing this for general interest. The interesting thing is, the cottages may be used to store hay and other animal food stuff. And the reason that the gentleman who did the investigation found graffiti on the wall, which basically looked as though they were actually recording hay and other food stuff. Clearly, at the time, it was an expensive public house, and it would have had big connections with the church, because the road network would have been very different in those days. The other thing is that they used to have to get up. It was originally, the gentleman reckons, was single story, then raised, and then covered in polywestern. And the people who lived there originally used to have to get up to the first floor by ladder. And I quote him, he says, it's a highly complex little building. Basically, it's a building that's very antique and has been modified over a number of years. Right. This is the current interior. That's a brick lavatory which I think was installed in 2008. But interestingly, the property's not been inhabited since then. As you can see, it's in a majorly dilapidated state. Okay, these are the planning proposals. Basically, possibly the most, apart from the internal changes, and they are very, very nicely thought out, is the bit you can see that's hatched, which is an additional building, single story, on the back. Right, that's first floor plan. You can see it's now got a staircase instead of a ladder. Okay, elevations. Now you can see the additional single story on the right hand picture. I could go in great detail about I've actually got it all on my laptop here, but I'm trying to stick closely to just planning and not bore you with the rest of it. It is a most extraordinarily interesting application, and then an awful lot of work has gone into the heritage side of it, and it's quite clear that Mr. and Mrs. White are going to do their very best. They're going to take out, for example, some metal additions that have been put in later and go back to the originals. You can see where the external single story is. And they're also going to redo that wall that you can see just to the left of it in original limestone. So they've been very thoughtful. These are my conclusions. I mean, the place has been a wreck. And all of a sudden we now have the opportunity to have people who want to have made a significant attempt to find the property's history and to return some of the original features.
Is there of interest? Is it listed at all?
Yes,
It is.
it's in the conservation area too.
So we've got lots of people doing all the right things there in terms of constraining.
Oh,
what
crikey,
we do.
yes.
Yes, have you had any chance to speak to conservation officer?
No. He's not been available. I did try and talk to him, but he has, I believe he has been involved in this, but there's a very serious heritage analysis from a professional who talks about mullions and goodness knows what else. I could honestly, I love this application. I'd love to spend an hour on it with you guys, but you know, we've only got a limited amount of time. I think they're going to do a very good job. And let's face it, they couldn't do anything worse.
Yes, I mean, clearly bringing the buildings back into benefit and use per se sounds like a good thing. My instinct when people start talking about making extensions to listed buildings is to start worrying.
That isn't,
And obviously there are a lot of interesting internal features in connection with this application as well.
Yep.
I suspect that if ever there was a case where actually we should probably be simply saying that we would defer to the view of the conservation officer, it is probably this application, because it has a whole raft of complicating features. We would be anxious to ensure that no internal features of merit were accidentally lost as a result of what's been planned, but none of us are probably capable of spotting that in the scenario.
The heritage, sorry.
Yeah.
The heritage thing, honestly, is forensic. It
So
goes
the trouble
in
with anything like that is that, of course, it is produced with the view of convincing the planning authority that you have covenant basis and that what you are doing is appropriate. And it might very well be right. But I don't feel confident to be able to say, yes, I trust the heritage assessment that's coming with the planning application, although equally I want to make clear it's not that I distrust it either. But I think that with the internal features we've got, plus the fact that there are some external works which will ought to be external to the roads, my instinct is to simply say that we would defer to a view of the conservation officer, but I'm open to persuasion. If people feel that they've got like the application,
well, that is why I put that note at the bottom. I mean, for example, there was concern by the heritage people that they might put a bathroom upstairs. One of the reasons why they built that extension is actually to put a bathroom in there.
I guess you've got to look at a lot of the safety features.
The thing is, really, is that
Is it safe?
we've dealt with quite a number of these sort of things down Mill Road, where people have sought to try to turn a building that would not be fit for purpose in the century we live in. And all we can really do is ask that all the major features, will be retained. Now, the report from the Heritage Man, as I say, is long and goes into a great deal of detail about the external and internal features of the house. I agree with Councillor Chappell that maybe the only thing might be that the extension might be considered a car bunker on a Grade 2 listed building. But I think one's going to be realistic that people need and use certain facilities these days. And this property has been adjusted several times. Parts of it possibly go back to the 17th century.
So what is that extension under? What's the
Councillor Oakes asked what
What's the
construction materials for the extension
Oh dear, I'd have to go and have a look. But
I mean, it's pretty clear that if they were inappropriate materials, the conservation officer would sit on it.
oh, absolutely. Lloyd had come out of the traps to stop that.
That's fine. Yeah.
I think, Councillor Chapel, I think that what you suggested is what I've recommended. I think we can't put an objection in, because I don't think we've got grounds to put an objection in.
Okay. Just on one observation then.
Go on.
I've never seen the arrangement that this house has for pigeon housing. I've seen it on this house, and I've been sort of delighted by seeing it. And it's not on that picture there, as if they're going to take it away. Now, I don't know whether we can, just as an observation, say...
I don't know whether they will, because obviously
but
this
but just in our notes now, if we just say as an observation,
We like that
pigeon feature, is unique.
We would like to see it retained. I mean, I'm quite happy to include it.
I would like to see it retained,
Yeah.
actually.
Well, you don't need to house pigeons in it, but just keep the feature there.
Can I just point out, that is, it's mentioned in the report, and apparently it was a basic feature of agricultural dwellings.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so
It's
I've never
very
seen one
odd.
before, but
It's very odd.
over the
But-
years I've noticed it on that building. And I
Can I just say, I mean, that's why this application has been so fascinating
yeah,
to me.
so put it as an observation.
I'm trying ever so hard to get away from the history and just look at the planning front.
I think the way we'll deal with it in that case is this. It will indicate that we will defer to the view of the Conservation Officer, but would make the observation that it has this particular feature, which we very much hope can be retained within
Yeah,
the proposed redevelopment.
That's fine.
that's fine.
People happy with that?
Yeah.
Wording?
Yeah, but can we just describe that as just a sec, rather than say it's a pigeon, what's the name? Let me just go back a sec, just a minute. Sorry about this.
That's it.
Can we just say East Gable,
East Gable.
rather than say it's a pigeon thing, because I just did a little bit of mini research on it.
All right.
It may
So
not
you
be,
said
just
the East Gable
put the
retained.
shelving on the east gable then.
just put
Yeah.
the feature on the East Gable,
Yep.
I agree with you.
rather than say it's a pigeon
Yeah.
thing, because I just did a bit of digging and I've never had so much fun with a planning application in my.
Shall we move on to one that's
Sorry.
slightly more mundane, which is,
Just a sec.
it didn't really describe it other than by location. So it's an application concerning
Right.
the, what's the word, what's it put here? In Ashton Road. I think that's the only way I can put it.
So can I just say, I'll just run through this quickly and I'll defer to Councillor Robinson, who has a particular interest in this. But if you'd like to hang on for a bit, I'll just show you what I've got. Okay. Right. Okay, that's the definition of B1 and B8. Basically, offices and storage. Right? There it is. That's the triangle there. And if you look at it on that plan, you think, well, but then you realise it's covered in trees. Next bit we do, this is a submitted planning application. As you can see, the triangle land is outlined in red. And that's the other one, which shows you that, yes, there are trees on it. Right, look at the site. That's where the trees are. And that's where the PGR
Were.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is why I'm going to defer to you. I'm just trying to sort of set the scene, really. And that's number 6 on the industrial estate, and it's PGR. And I believe they share the yard with Hutchinson's. It's all a bit confusing as to who owns what. But this is the next bit. Have a look at that. Can you see it? Application holds a possessory title. And I'm sure Councillor Chapel will be able to tell us all about the possessory title. The other bit is that we basically used it for 10 years, hence we're claiming that we own it.
No, I don't think he's claiming he owns it.
Well, he doesn't own it.
He's claiming that he has right of use in this
Well,
yeah.
yeah, but the thing is, he's saying he's got possessory title, which does mean he thinks he
Yeah.
owns
Well, we
it.
know he hasn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll leave it to you now,
Right,
Councillor
leave
Robinson.
Leave it to the legal and the...
All right.
I've done my best to...
We don't go, need
Let's
to go
hear
very
from
far
council.
with it. Yeah, so we don't need to go very far with it. Sue, sorry, what's her name? Scott. Sue Scott's been to see it. She agrees that he's moved on this piece of land without planning permission. She's raised it with him. He, rather than apply for retrospective planning permission, is claiming that he's used the piece of land for over 10 years, and therefore he only needs this piece of paper.
He's got
Yeah.
kind of right.
Yeah. So he has 3 of his employees have signed documents to say that he was storing industrial goods in the woods before he felled it, and based on that, you know, he's all right to carry on. So East Northampton has asked Downwood Council if we have anything to support or to contradict his claim. And until tonight, I didn't have much. And then tonight, we find out that Council Appeal actually occupied that building that's in the yard. And he said he was not in that woods at that time, and the only thing that was in the woods was a caravan. So I think we've got enough to go back to them. But he clearly broke his planning permission, and on this document that he signed, he actually says himself that he broke the planning permission because he didn't erect the fence and the shrubbery that we agreed he should erect at the end of the premises. And the other part of his planning permission was that he kept storage within the defined area within his yard, and he was storing things outside of his yard. The bad news is ENC are frightened to take him to court over it because they've got no money.
I think he's got away with it, the blighter.
So yeah,
Well,
he's got one.
we have to look at perhaps arguably 2 sides to this. One is, this is a planning application. We are a consultant body in connection with that, and we should comment on the application as is.
Yeah.
It may well be that, regardless of whether he does or doesn't achieve the planning permission sought, that there may be other legal issues involving with this. What is probably appropriate, given what Councillor Robinson has said to us tonight, is that whatever we put into our response, and however we respond, that we should say that it is known to council through a councillor that the points that Councillor Robinson made, what ENC choose to do with that piece of information, if anything, it seems to me is a matter for them, but it seems entirely appropriate that we pass that information on, because it's something that is now within the knowledge of the council. I'm certainly not going to query what Councillor Peters apparently indicates to Councillor Robinson. When I looked at this, I thought that in essence, quote unquote, all that we were looking at was that this was a time-limited grant where they were simply looking to carry on doing what they had permission to do before for a further period. Now, I suppose there is a secondary issue here, which is that if you have a time-limited grant and permission, and during that period of time when you have permission, you're actually operating outside of that permission, and there is some suggestion that that's happened, then when it comes to looking into whether you should extend it, I think you're entitled to look at whether they complied with it in the first place. And I think it would be improper to take a view that if we were satisfied that people hadn't been complying with the original permission properly, why on earth should we agree that the time for it should be further extended? So, my inclination terms of objection to this on that basis, provided I have, if you like, understood the circumstances correctly, both with regard to the extant permission, the application, and the information that I think we have got. So, Councillor Robinson, does that meet some of your
Certainly.
issues with it?
Yes, yeah.
I thought it might. Does any... Just
You
been
can have that
fiddling with your pen and I've now pulled the end of it off. by mistake.
Can I
Yes,
just add something? The interesting thing is, as I understand it, it was actually highways that felled the trees.
Sorry, the noise from that fan was sufficient that I couldn't actually catch what you said then.
The information I
It's
had,
time to go off.
Yeah, it's cool enough now. That's better.
yeah,
You can definitely.
Councillor
have that
Chapel, I understand, and by the way, I don't know if this is a fact, but I understand it was actually highways that chopped the trees down. And you have to wonder about, I'll be leaving you now, sir. Well, by the way, it's a nice brown packet that contains certain bits and pieces.
I think we can just stick to the request here, yeah, rather than any other issues.
But I'm very interested as to how,
Who cut the trees down?
yeah, but I'm very interested as to how that came about.
Okay.
I think the risk is that we end up speculating,
I agree.
and I'm not sure we should speculate. I think we're entitled to say, look, they were there and they're not now. The one thing that is
Well-
indisputable is that trees that were there are not now there.
So the application in front of us, yeah.
But I would argue that there is potentially, if the facts as I've understood them are correct, then I think there is a basis for saying, no, we would object to this going on. Now, I think it is also fair to make a further observation, which is that one doesn't particularly want to put obstacles in the way of business
No.
that bring employment and prosperity and all the rest of it. And if they were denied planning permission going forward, it may have consequences. On the other hand, I have to come back to what I said earlier, we're a planning authority in essence, making a decision on planning grounds. And on planning grounds, if we think that they haven't played the game hitherto, should we allow them to keep on playing?
I think the other thing you brought up was the issue of screening.
Yeah, so what I was about to say, the same thing there, is if they put in a request for planning, yeah, we would probably apply the same rules as we did for the original site, and it just had the screening requirements on the site. You know, so, you know, just in line with what you're saying about business, we want to encourage it. You know, the wood is now gone, it won't come back again. So, you know, if they submitted a request for planning on that site to use it as an industrial site, you know, we would apply the same rules that we applied to the main part of their site, which is screening around each of the boundaries of it. And the residents, I think that's all they would want to happen really now, is the site just to be screened off the way the rest of it has been. But this application doesn't do that. This application says nothing about screening.
Well, I suppose we can say that we object for all the reasons that I've already articulated. I suppose, although it may dilute from the argument about objection, which is always the concern, is to turn around and say, however, if in fact the application were to be granted, then conditions regarding suitable screening should be incorporated into the grant. I don't see any harm in adding that in. That would meet the objection that Councillor Robinson raised.
And mine.
And yours. You suggest that perhaps we
Have you any
are...
more pictures?
No,
That's it.
I chopped them down.
Literally the ones that we took the other day.
Well, they weren't very good, to
You
be
remember?
honest.
Okay, that was me driving too fast.
We drove
Quite sure
past
what's
it.
happened to the lights, but nobody seems to be demurring particularly from
No.
what I've just
No, it's
suggested.
fine.
So, shall we put that we object for all the reasons that we set out, however, we're granted the screen?
Well, it's effectively almost a retrospective application.
Well, if they'd made a retrospective application, we'd have having a different conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Will we then be applying our standard retrospective points
Exactly.
regardless of anything else we say?
Yeah.
I suspect we've done this one vaguely to death.
Yes.
However, we haven't totally finished sort of that general part of the world, because the next application was 10 Mean Valley Business Park.
This is a bit easier. Okay. Basically, you can see the property if you come in off the A605. It's on the left-hand side. You can see it there with all the bits and pieces in it. That's what it looks like if you come in down that road. The site, that's where they want to put the new building. It's on an industrial estate. The elevations are going to look like that. Basically, they want to have storage for certain equipment that needs to be looked after in adverse weather conditions. I struggle to find an objection.
I was about to use a very similar expression. I mean, I can't see any obvious reason to object to this.
It's already seriously industrial with a crane in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It used to be Williams Haulage.
Yeah, oh yeah. I had forgotten actually. but
Williams
yes.
Haulage years ago. So they had all the big containers, big lorries and...
Containers.
Well, the crane actually shifts those containers around all the place, you see. That's what it's there for.
So, you know, to my mind, as long as it doesn't change the hours of use of the site, you know, with...
No, I think I read that. It's, I think it's, 7:30 to 6, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I think they've got Saturday mornings and no Sunday, haven't they, or something like that?
Yeah, that's right. I
Yeah,
mean,
so it's
there is a requirement in there.
Let's just be specific in that case. If we're going to say no objection, it's no objection, subject to maintaining existing prohibitions or requirements around operating hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom. Good wording.
Life gets even simpler now.
Is it a tree?
No, it's then the rugby club, and it's our own application.
No, but look, I know you can't say anything, but I thought it would be useful to pop it up.
I think
I
it's
have it.
worth showing
Show
councillors
us.
who are present what we are actually proposing to do for anybody who's not.
And then we have to keep our lips closed.
But don't say anything, Mr. Oaks. Sorry, Councillor.
Right. Okay. That's effectively the site. You can see the rugby union clubhouse there. That's the workshop that's proposed to be built.
Right, can I raise an issue here?
Oh,
One.
Having been there with the rugby club, that is not the orientation that they are accepting.
Well, they haven't put an objection in.
What
Not-
do you mean? Certainly they had previously put an objection in to the council, and it didn't get recorded. Whoever went to visit them, and I forget who they said it would have been, but it didn't get recorded. Anyway, I've been there with Emma and myself, and John. You know, we had walked around there, and they expressed why they didn't like that orientation, and essentially it takes one coach out of their coach park for the Saturdays. If we turn it through 90 degrees, it aligns with the back of the garages perfectly, and they can continue to
Right.
use their coach park.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. I didn't know anything about that. I'm just dealing with what
Yeah.
I
I've
think
got.
the new plans were submitted by the architect today.
Right.
Oh, okay,
And
right.
they were
yes.
Right,
supposed to be
okay.
copying me in a
But
copy,
the interesting thing also, though, is that the detail of the compound, which is proposed, is not included in the planning application.
Right.
So I was a bit stumped about that. So I rang Waterland and said, you haven't put this in. You've only put in the workshop. But you appear to have a compound. They said, what's the compound going to look like? Now, here we go. Planning and elevation, and I put the north, east, south, west and south in. basically, on the eastern side, the idea was to have 2 roller blinds with a door in the middle, and then there was this area at the top, which was called a parking and compound, which had got a couple of entrances there. Now you can now see that that is what the orientation is. Now, Tony, do you know what is the objection to this?
Yeah, it's the coach parking. So just by rotating it 90 degrees, they can get their the current allocation of coaches in there.
Okay.
So that car park is extremely busy.
No. Oh, no. I've been up there when it's been swamped.
Yeah. So we haven't got a conflict of interest because we will be using it Monday to Friday, Saturday,
Well,
Sunday.
this is what I had a chat with John Warner about. You see, he's not so bothered about getting hemmed in by
No.
cars and coaches.
So we haven't got a problem with it.
Because he's 9 to 5. They do have training down there, but that tends not to fill the car park.
Yeah.
But when they have games, that car park can get absolutely rock solid.
Yeah.
But I can only put up.
No, okay.
What's
So
on the banner?
they were a little bit frustrated that they had a meeting on the car park with previous bodies in the council,
But we're
and
in we're,
it hadn't been recorded.
we're between a rock and a hard place here,
Yeah,
aren't we?
so anyway, you're saying that the revised drawings have been submitted now?
Yeah, that's
But
what
we
it
haven't
is.
got them yet, I assume.
No, they hadn't come through.
All I
by
can
5
do
o'clock.
is say this is the planning application as is. We can't comment on it because we've obviously put the planning application in. Anyway, I thought this was a bit of amusement. There we go, have a look at that. Bit of amusement for the design and access statement. According to the architects, the site is within 5 minutes walking distance of the town's West Street and Marketplace.
I think it's a bit further
And all I can say is, get your skates on. Because even you saying Belt can get down there in 5 minutes.
That's a bit ambitious.
Anyway, I just thought it was amusing. When I rang them, he said, oh, we might have left a number out of that.
15, yeah.
15 or 25 or something like that. But it just amused me, and you do need to have a little bit of levity.
Well, it seems to me, as a planning
Right, can I just,
committee, we're not going to look at the application. If in fact the issue that Councillor Robinson has brought to our attention has actually been dealt with and there is a revised application, then in due course the revised application will come before us and we'll again be in the same position. But I think we should simply move on because I don't see how we can resolve.
can we make a comment about it to say that we understand that? I mean, it's difficult for us because
I
obviously
don't
put it
think we
in.
should do anything at this stage.
No, I'm inclined to
Other
agree.
than perhaps to double check whether in fact we have or intend to put in a revised application taking into account this concern. Because if there is no current plan to do so, then I do think the council needs to talk to Rugby Club again and get this sorted out. I mean, it would be farcical if in fact we end up in a situation where our own tenant is objecting to our application that we thought we got their consent to. So I think
And we've
get
also
that
got,
sorted
and
to
we've also
council.
got to make sure that our current staff, John and Nobby, are happy themselves with.
Yeah, well, they were there. John was there, so
Was he? Okay.
so he's no problem.
No.
Okay,
But
let's-
I can only do, this is always a tricky business. This is one of the worst things you can do is we can't come in.
All right,
We're
let's
stuck.
move on the basis that we aren't going to comment.
Right.
And look at another sports club, which is the Allen Boat Club, which itself has some interesting scenarios.
Oh. I assume you obviously must know. I mean, combined with the North Bridge scenarios is an interesting one. And there it is. And it's in Ashton. And Lisa has kindly persuaded ENC to let us comment on it, although it is in Ashton Parish. And they hadn't invited us before. Okay.
So the
Right.
biggest comment they've got there, and sorry,
Hmm?
carry on.
Carry on. Right, that's the site. And you can see you've got boathouse 1, boathouse 2, boathouse 3, boathouse 4. And there they are. Now the idea is that they demolish boathouse 3, which is leaning and dilapidated, and rebuild it as what is on the diagram as boathouse 5. These would be the elevations. Now the interesting thing about this is possibly the height of the building between boathouse 1 and 2, which you can see, and that's gone up a bit. And it's got a new flat roof. If you look at the existing and then look at the proposed, it's just hooked up a tiny bit. Basically so they can put some facilities in there. There's a resident's concern. Okay, we got that? Now, interestingly, the highways have put this in. That's all you know, access gates. I'm assuming the access gates do not necessarily affect pedestrian passage, but I don't know because it's not annotated. So. I'm also not terribly sure about the line of the public footpath and how it would be used. Oh no, I don't want to do the next. Just a second, I just want to go back. There we go, just a second. When did I do that? Yeah. If you look at the picture on the right, you can actually see there's a narrow boat there. Now, I tried my best to find out what the pathway might be. There is a pathway, but that leads away from the river. Clearly these are people who go in via the boathouse front entrance, make their way, presumably, towards where that narrow boat is, in between number 3, which is going to be demolished, and 1 and 2. Now that's my best assumption. Has anybody been down there? Because I haven't.
Yeah, you can walk.
Not recently.
I haven't been down there for ages.
You can walk either side of building 3. The
Right,
footpath continues along up the river.
yeah.
So you've got, I think you've got double gates for vehicle access,
In other words, it's to stop them from
Yeah, and then
people from
you've
nicking equipment.
and then you've actually got like just a normal, I don't even think there's a gate on it, but there's like a, where a gate used to be, and steps down to allow pedestrians and walkers to go through, and you just walk whichever way.
Yeah. I assume that the gates are basically there to stop people, you know, getting in there with
I
equipment
would
and nicking
imagine so,
stuff.
yeah.
I haven't been down there for ages, so I'm a bit annoyed I haven't had the time to do it.
So is the footpath a public right of way?
I don't think so.
It's certainly a footpath I can recall using.
Mm.
Whether it's a formal one or an informal one, I hesitate to say.
I doubt it's going to be a full right of way because obviously Angle School own all that land.
No, it doesn't matter who owns a piece of land, does it? You know, you can have a right of way across anybody's private land. It's a right of way, but if it's not a right of way,
I'd find it hard to believe it, there would be a right of way, but I'm very happy to put in something in our response to say, you know, we need to check if this is a right of way.
If this would interfere with any public right of way, X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
Can I just chuck one other thing into the mix? The boat club is not situated a million miles from the Maltese complex, some of which is actually listed,
It is.
and consequently we may want to consider whether what is proposed would have any adverse impact upon a listed building or listed building group. It's not the whole of the Maltings that's listed, but certainly actually the building nearest the river is. And so there might be merit in drawing this application to the attention of the Conservation Officer, who might not otherwise necessarily pick it up, and make sure that he doesn't have a concern about it. Because I know that when we looked at other applications, for example, the development on the wharf, and indeed the development on the other side of the road, issues around its proximity to the Maltings and the listed buildings were flagged up to the end, prevent permission being granted, and I suspect that ultimately it won't make any difference to this one either. And I'm not sure that, subject to this point about any public right of way, there is anything particularly about this application that would otherwise really concern us.
Well, I think that is that, again, I always try and keep it as simple as possible. They have done some vistas from various places, but if you look at it, I mean, number 5 is behind number 4. Now, it's going to be slightly bigger than number 3 or taller. It's quite a long way from the Maltings. In fact, it's a considerable long way from the Maltings. It's virtually the length of what you know, Station Road. I can't honestly put my hand up and say that there would be any problem with it in terms of its visage. I can't see an issue with that. And the fact is also they're demolishing something that's a lean-to at the moment. It's falling over. I don't know why they decided to do it this way. Why didn't they demolish number 3 and then rebuild another one there? But they've obviously got some kind of plan in mind.
So, how do we respond?
And it's in Ashton.
And it's in Ashton, but we could have the age-old argument about this is far more connected to Angle than it is to Ashton, etc., etc. It clearly impacts upon the parish of Angle.
Absolutely.
Even if it is technically in Ashton. I think
Yep.
it's quite right that we express our comments if we have them. I mean, I hasten to say that in suggesting that we refer it to the Conservation Officer, I do it on the basis that it simply is covering all the bases, because I don't anticipate the Conservation Officer will have the slightest worry about it, because although it's not a million miles away from the Maltings, it is further away than some other buildings that got planning permission, so I think it's unlikely that would concern anybody.
I don't think there
Which
is.
is why I suspect the only issue would be if it interferes with the public right of way, which I suspect again, I suspect it doesn't.
I don't think they're listed, Councillor. They might be, but I don't think they are.
Sorry, wait.
I don't think the road price area is listed.
Oh no, I'm talking about the Maltings being the list.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I know that extremely well. I probably should go over to the Maltings and try and take a photograph of this. But perhaps I'm slightly unprepared for this one.
Does anybody have any particular views, either in favour, against, or what have you?
I think so long as the architecture and the fabric is in keeping with the other buildings there.
That is what has been stated
Yeah.
on the application.
So, you know, to keep them in the similar style. I mean, if they made a steel flat roof thing like we're
Oh,
going to
no.
build, yeah, so, you know, I don't think we've got any objection to it.
I'm still fascinated by what this route is through there.
All right, well, it
If you
sounds
look
to
at
me like what we would be saying is that we have no objection, subject to clarification, that there is no impact on any public right of way, and perhaps subject to inviting the conservation officer to consider whether or not its proximity to listed buildings in the roadside markings worries them in any way. And I'm pretty sure I know all the answers to those two
So do
questions. But then
So, yeah,
residents can't say we haven't at least considered
Oh,
those
we've been-
aspects of the
I think we've been forensic about this one.
There
probably.
is an objection from the residents.
And there is objection.
Well, the residents are,
It's
well,
fair enough to show.
in a way, it's not an objection, it's more saying that, you know, please don't muck up our
Well,
route to the river.
But it can
But
be
they'd like obviously some sort
I
of
think-
response, wouldn't
well,
they?
we-
An acknowledgement that they've made that.
Yeah, and I think we should support their concern.
Well, in a sense, by making this point about if it impacts on the public right of way, I mean, if it is an informal usage that would be stopped, well, in a sense, so be it, I suppose. Unless going back to things we were talking about a few minutes ago, it's been used for so long that somebody can claim that they are now exercising it as a right.
Oh yes, we've had it for 10 years.
But let's
On Walker's possessory title.
Let's move on.
let us
Well, we know
at
quite
the
well
very
that.
last application, as far as I can check,
Okay,
which is back to West Street number 42.
well, can I just say, she actually said, like this person is saying, look very close to a public footpath. I don't know. We can always, I can always have a look at that. Right, anyway.
Something I suggest.
This has got to be the easiest one of the lot. Isn't that lovely? There it is. And it's John and Joe Milbourne's property. They're right opposite the dentist's. Okay, trees to be polled on a yearly basis. And there they are. Basically, they're overhanging the entrance to the college yard. There's another planning application in blue down there, but we're not dealing with that today.
On the basis that this is tree husbandry, the usual policy would be to raise no objection. And I can't see any obvious reason why you would depart from that in this instance.
Well, I mean, lime trees are traditionally pollarded.
Exactly.
And going down to Coles's yard, there's some
Which is
big
why I didn't
maples.
actually even refer to the tree officer, because it seemed to me that this one spoke.
Can I just say, I entirely agree,
Not branches off the main.
it would be silly to refer this to the tree officer. They probably have to go and have a look at it for their own purposes, but I can't see we can object to it.
I'm going to take that nobody's looking at it down and saying.
There we go.
So that's an objection.
Look at that, the end, and it's only 9
I
o'clock.
thought we were doing air conditioning today. I thought we had one about air conditioning units, was that? Did I misread that?
No,
No,
no.
we're going to come on to that. It's
That's
not
the-
a planning application.
Oh, I see,
Appeal.
okay.
As
right.
such.
Yeah, that's not it,
But
right.
there is- yes, you're quite right.
It's an enforcement
I'm
notice.
looking forward to it.
Settle down, settle
I'm
down.
looking so bloody hot.
We'll get there in just a moment, Councillor Williams. And the next item on the agenda deals with planning outcomes. It's all set out here. You can see that we made some comments in some cases rather than any of them being an actual objection, and I seem to recollect that every single one of those was granted. So-
They are, every single one.
So that moves us on to
Planning appeals.
Planning appeals. Now, this is what Councillor Robinson is referring to.
Air conditioning units.
It's perhaps as well that Councillor Cheshire is not here, since we have to declare an interest because this property is next door to hers, and has been featuring on our planning committee meetings for some while now. And it's contrived to do it again because those who have been doing extensive works on this site have gone a bit too far according to ENC and have undertaken works without obtaining the necessary planning consent, and consequently ENC, and especially enthusiasm that you don't often see, has actually slammed in an enforcement notice and said, you've got to stop. And it's that which is now the subject of our argument about whether or not they will have to stop. as I understand it. I must admit, I started reading through the paperwork and rather gave up the will to carry on with it in detail. And I'm not entirely sure whether it is expected that we actually do anything other than note this, because I'm not sure that there is any role for us to play. This is a matter between the property owner on the one hand and ENC planning on the other, who have taken a view and are taking action. Our normal course would be to support ENC in enforcing planning permissions vigorously, so I think we should be pleased to see that they're doing that. But unless anybody has any specific view that we should do something, I'm not entirely sure what it is that we could or would do, I think we simply note it and we wait to see what
the
happens
outcome
next.
is.
They basically pretty well destroyed the vernacular over the cyclones. It looks like Dallas.
Well, I think when we saw it right at the outset, there were certain concerns about the impact on the street scene. I seem to recall using almost those words at one point. Sadly, I think it has turned out to be rather difficult. But as I say, in terms of actually us having a role to play or doing anything, I'm not sure that there is one.
I mean, the objection is quite specifically to those air conditioning units which have been put at first floor level.
Yeah.
And they're noisy.
They would be, no doubt. If Councillor Chessel was here, we could probably seek information from her by way of clarification or anything else. However, she isn't, and I suspect that we leave it at that, unless anybody has a different view. In which case, we move on to...
We've done with
We've kind of
trees.
done that, haven't we?
I thought, yes, in a sense we've already looked at that.
Yeah.
So,
It's nice to know.
unless anybody has anything else to add on it, I don't think there is an update to be had. Which takes us on to any other matters. And I note with a certain degree of pleasure that Paul Bland has apparently agreed to join us at our meeting in September. Since I think we invited him to our meeting in January, and it's taken 9 months to get there, I hope that we'll have a decent turnout on the night. It may well be worth, if people have issues that they want to raise, to give the guy some kind of advance warning about it, because otherwise the risk is his response is, I'll look into it and get back to you, which isn't really helpful.
Should we invite all councillors to this meeting?
I think that there is merit in drawing to other councillors' attention the fact that he will be here, he will answer questions, and that those questions can be put not only by members of the planning committee but by any interested town councillor. Because we now have one extra town councillor who isn't currently on any committee at all. So
I don't know who that is yet. Somebody's put their name forward, but it's all gone ever so quiet. I have a feeling.
Former councillor Stagg.
Oh,
You're joking? Really?
I am not. Former councillor Stagg was formally co-opted to the council at the full council meeting earlier today. And is therefore not currently a member of any committee, and will no doubt take his place. Although my recollection is that
I've not seen that around.
in his previous, as it were, incarnation as a councillor, I don't think he ever sat on planning.
You didn't.
So I suspect he won't be rushing to the rules. But he might come along to that meeting in order to hear what the man has to say, and maybe he may have questions for him.
Okay.
That, therefore, is that, unless anybody around the room has anything else. Councillor Oates? No? Councillor Robinson?
No.
I don't think I have anything. Is there anything else that we've missed that we should be talking about?
Nope.
I can't think of. In which case, unfortunately, we slipped just beyond 9 o'clock. It isn't too bad.
That's pretty good.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your attendance.
Okay.